Go. Yeah, I mean, it's good. Yeah, I mean, it's good.
Cool. Okay, then hopefully you should be good this time.
Yeah, like, it seems fine on your end too, right? Like, don't tell me I'm crazy.
Yep, let's just see the smash home screen. Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, we'll get started then. I'll make an arena. I don't know why I just needed to restart the computer. I don't understand how technology works. Okay. Created an arena. I'm gonna send you the
Step into the
code.
ring.
There you go. Alright, so can you remind me what your overarching goals are? Or just like improve fundies, or is there like anything specific?
Yeah, I mean, buddy, let's see. Brush it down a little bit. But, so, disadvantage is like a big, like, I don't know, that's like my weakness.
Okay.
In that
Okay.
yeah, I play big boy YouTube, so
Mm-hmm.
there's that. But I mean, that's not like what's like also on other characters. That's hard to do that.
Okay, makes sense. We can definitely talk about that. Just to like, and you got the code by the way, right? In Discord.
Oh shoot.
Okay, no, you're.
Like,
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, just while we get started, I'll just touch on it briefly, so it's something that you can think about in terms of like how to get at a disadvantage. So it is going to be character specific, both your character and your opponent's character, right? Obviously, yeah, Mewtwo can have a harder time getting at a disadvantage than some other characters because you have a very big hurt box. And your options from ledge, I wouldn't say they're bad, but they tend to be higher risk. Not necessarily predictable, just higher risk. So because essentially, like, okay, so let me cover some like quick disadvantage options, and you know we can talk about it. Or again, you can think about it and we can play. So one, let's talk at ledge. So when you're grabbing onto ledge, you obviously have a certain amount of iframes, and those amount of iframes go down the higher percent you are, so it like forces you to like pick an option quicker, which is also just bad. The fact that like it forces you to pick an option quicker is bad because it gives you less mix-up on your timing, right? Like your opponent knows your invincibility is going to run out quicker, so they're going to be more they're going to more easily know like when they can time something that'll either hit your ledge hang or hit, you know, an option as you're coming off of ledge, right? When you have more iframes, you have so much more time to like mix up when you use an option from ledge, and that makes it harder for your opponent. So that's just a, you know, very basic idea, right? Of like any option you pick from disadvantage, you know, the harder you make the execution for your opponent, and I mean for any aspect of this game really, you know, that the better it's going to be for you, right? So, so now let's talk about like your ledge options. You can do neutral getup. Neutral getup tends to be fairly safe because when you get up from ledge, you are vulnerable for 2 frames before you can before you're actionable. So that means that, and so shield is actually a frame 1 option, so that's going to be the quickest option for, you know, for any character. So a very common option to do is to do, you know, neutral get up into shield. So that means that on frame 3, your shield comes out. And it's very hard for people to get that like 2-frame timing, right? Where they punish you. Now it's possible, especially if they're like charging a smash attack or they time like an F tilt or something, right? Like it's definitely possible, but it's definitely very high execution demand on your opponent, right? So that tends to be very safe. Now, the thing about neutral get up into shield though is that one, it tends to be more predictable for some people to look for, and if they are standing literally like right there, a very common option for opponents to do is they will stand right in front of where you would neutral get up, and a lot of times they'll shield too, and that way it's very easy to time a shield grab on their end, because it's like, yeah, you're gonna shield on frame 3, but then it's like what else are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like you don't have any other like offensive option, and so it becomes very easy for them to time a shield grab. A lot of shield grabs are like, you know, frame 8 or something, right? It's very easy because, you know, you have a frame 3 jump squad. Like what other option are you realistically gonna do, right? The option that you sometimes people will do is like they want to pick their fastest option, right? So I think Mewtwo's frame data, and I think that's why you know, some of his ledge options aren't as good, is because I think his frame data isn't super great. You can I can't remember quite well, so you know, you could catch me on that, but it's like, what, your jab is like frame 4 probably. It's not super fast, and then like your fastest aerial is gonna be like Nair, and that's gonna be like frame 7 or something.
No, wait, the fair is frame 4, but I mean,
oh,
the Nair doesn't catch
fair is frame 4. Okay, yeah, but so that would be frame 7 if you do neutral get up, which isn't the worst actually. I mean, but it's not good, like especially if they do like, yeah, I mean, frame 7 there is not that fair. I mean, it's not that bad. Granted, the angle could be awkward.
Advantage do you have when you like when you play basically where you back up off the ledge, kind of like drop and then jump?
Yes, double. I was gonna mention that. So drop from ledge double jump on Mewtwo is very good as a ledge option, because it gives you, and I wanted to mention that specifically, it seems like you already have that in mind. That tends to be one of your best options, because like, yes, your double jump's very floaty. So you'll go a lot of distance, and that's obviously good and bad, right? But one of the good things that you can do with it is, yeah, you can mix up between fair, which is actually like it reaches fairly far. But the other thing too is you can now mix up with also side B, which is a command grab. So if they're shielding at ledge, now it's like, well, maybe you just side B them for it and you get back for free. Or you can, because again, you're going so far, you can even mix them up with a defensive option. So you go past, you don't do fair or side B, and then maybe you do like an air dodge, or you do an up B onto somewhere on stage. It's like, and sure, by the way, and it's not like your up B can't get punished, it's not like your air dodge can't get punished, but they're mix-ups. Like a lot of this stuff in this game can get punished, but it's a question of, will your opponent punish it, right? So yeah, so those are very good mix-ups. Your roll, I know it's not super fast, but it also goes very far, so that's another mix-up that you have at ledge. Roll is very good, obviously, like if your opponent's committing to something like a strong attack to hit like ledge hang or something. So yeah, I mean, you have mix-ups. Sometimes also something interesting to keep in mind is sometimes it's okay to get hit as long as it means you don't die, right? So sometimes you can roll onto stage and you're like, yeah, I'm probably going to take a hit, but I'm not going to die. So that's okay. I'm going to be able to reset, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Now, in terms of like how to get down from disadvantage from like, say, above, you basically have, I would say, you know, like 3 or 4 options. So one is you do an aggressive landing, like say like a fast fall nair. And fast falling is very good for, you know, multiple reasons. You get down on the ground faster, and it's also harder for your opponent to react. So like fast fall nair is very strong. Fast fall air dodge can be very strong. Obviously you can do a directional air dodge. It's very committal, but you know, Muta being very floaty, again, it's like good and bad. In a way, it's like, well, you're going to be in the air longer, but also like it can make your aerial drift a lot more ambiguous. So you can really mix up people with like sort of like back and forth air drift. So like if you combine that with like an air dodge, whether it's neutral air dodge or directional air dodge, a lot of times you can get past and get to the ground. So you can do an aerial, you can do an air dodge, you can do an up B. So obviously again, up B like downwards, like diagonal downwards, like onto stage, or up B like onto the ledge. A lot of times going to ledge is actually gonna be the safest play. Yes, that means you're at ledge, which is not a good position, but a lot of times it is gonna be the safest way you can get down. And again, like ledge gives you iframes, and it gives you again like those mix-ups, like being able to come back with forward air, side B, roll, etc. So so that's kind of how I would think about disadvantage. And look, you're gonna get juggled. Like sometimes it's gonna happen. Like it's like, you know, advantage states in this game are pretty good. Sometimes, you know, once you're disadvantaged, like like you're just gonna take damage. That's just how it is. But you know, you want to be looking for, you know, how you can minimize that damage, or how you can most quickly get back to like a neutral positioning. So just my 2 cents on, you know, how you can think about it. And yeah. How often do I what? No, SDI is really only relevant for like multi-hit moves. So things like let's say Corrin forward smash, you know, I don't know, like Ness, or like Ken, maybe like Ken Shoryu, Arc Fire, PK Fire, Belmont Fire, like all those multi-hits really. The reason why it's better on those moves, also like Rob, like up air. Anyway, the reason it's better on multi-hits is for multiple reasons. One is obviously because it's on multi-hit, you actually get more time to react to be able to SDI. SDIing a regular move is like kind of impossible, like reaction time wise in the first place. But second place, the more times you get hit in a row in this game, there's actually like, it's actually coded into the game. The more times you get hit in a row, and I'm talking like true combo, like I'm not talking about like you got 0 to death, right? I'm talking about like every time you get hit in a row by a multi-hit, it actually increases your SDI multiplier. So it actually makes it easier for you to SDI out of moves. So multi-jabs, for example, that's actually a very good one. Like if you're getting like multi-jabs, say by like Young Link or Meta Knight or whoever, a lot of times, or Inkling even, a lot of times you can actually SDI it away, and you can actually fall out of their multi-jab, and then you can even like smash attack them for it, like F smash them. Now, obviously, like if you don't get it every time, I mean, listen, I don't get it every time, you know what I mean? But it is something you can look for and you can go for. But yeah, I would really only bother SDIing multi-hit moves. It's just like not really feasible to SDI like non-multi hits. Obviously, again, like if you SDI like, I think it's also good like to SDI multi hits, even if they're only like 2 hits, if they're like things you can fall out of, right? So like Cloud up B, Crom up B, a lot of those things you can fall out of. But a lot of it's also going to depend on spacing. So like if Crom up B or Cloud up B hits you like meaty dead on, you're just not going to be able to SDI out of it. Like it's just literally not possible, right? But if it like hits you at the very tip, or maybe you're like kind of like on top ish, behind ish, right? Then you can SDI and fall out of it. So it's a lot of it's super dependent on spacing and, you know, percentage and you know, like weight and floatiness. Like there's so many factors that go into it. But yeah, that's what I would be looking to SDI. Just basically multi-hits that you can fall out of.
Okay, so Bowser's playing for us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cool, cool, cool. Alright.
3, 2, 1, go!
Good. Okay. Okay, so the main things that I noticed, by the way, I think there's a lot of good stuff in your play. I really like your dashbacks in neutral. I like that you try to find angles in neutral to like get good hits. Like you approach to like get forward airs, like falling forward airs, and like bait your opponent into swinging. I think that's really good. You're using Mewtwo's movement well. So now in terms of like things that you really need to improve on, one is your ledge trapping. I think is very lackluster, and let me like touch on why. Basically, when you are ledge trapping me, you are basically every time trying to cover a grounded option, and you're almost always also doing it offensively. So you were trying a lot of smash attacks, like up smash, down smash, out smash at ledge, and you were not catching me. I get up attacked you like 7 times in a row.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, the other like half of the time I was jumping from ledge, and you were not covering that either. And by the way, again, obviously it's mix-ups. Obviously you can't cover it every time, but I was getting away with it so consistently that I noticed it was a pattern, right? I think you basically needed to adjust to that, and I didn't see the adjustment come through. So let's talk about like what you can do to improve on your ledge trapping. So one is, I would say, adjustment. Like if I'm getting away with an option over and over, then you need to adjust to that option. If you see that I'm jumping every time, well, okay, let's talk about what covers jump, right? So obviously, if you think that I'm going to jump, you can like say do a you can space yourself to do a jump forward air or a back air or an up air, right? Like there's a lot of things you can cover. If I'm doing get up attack every time, you can shield, and then you can actually, depending on your shield spacing, you can either grab me, you can up smash me even, because get up attack on shield is very, very minus. You can even you can set up Shadow Ball. You can just charge Shadow Ball at like roll distance. And I know this is Wi-Fi, so obviously it's harder to react to stuff, but still, like Shadow Ball at ledge, that's like classic Wadi, and like he covers like 3 out of 4 options every time. You can even cover jump with it, because then it's like if you see them jump, then you can like full hop Shadow Ball them, right? Or short hop Shadow Ball them. So I really didn't see you going for Shadow Balls in your ledge trapping. And again, I'm not saying do it every time, because that's also bad, but I didn't really see you do it any of the time, which is also bad, because it's such a good option that Mewtwo has. So yeah, so I would say mix up your options. Again, you were going for an aggressive option every time. Again, you can mix up things you can do by spacing at roll distance, setting up Shadow Ball. You can space at get up attack distance with a shield, and you can again start covering jumps with either aerials or Shadow Ball. Now, let's see, what was the other thing? I actually feel like you did pretty decent in disadvantage, actually. I think your ledge options were pretty good. I think your recoveries were pretty decent. You were like timing them well, like you weren't getting antsy. I think it was pretty good. Actually, I remember the other thing. The other thing you really need to work on is your scrapping game. Essentially, like your close quarters, kind of like in the moment, like high APM, kind of like you need to make a decision like in the moment. So it kind of looks like, how do I put it? A lot of times you were kind of in a position to do something, but you kind of just stood there and you got hit for it. And again, I understand maybe that's just an offline habit. Maybe you're like expecting to be able to react, right? And obviously it just doesn't translate quite as well. So that's possible, but I have a hard time knowing whether it's that or whether it's just more like you just didn't have an option prepped. You were necessarily trying to react, and so you kind of just got caught out. So if it's the latter, yeah. So I think if you're trying to do that, I think it really makes sense to do that when you're conditioning your opponent, or it makes sense to do that when your opponent is kind of at crucial percents, right? Like I kind of even want to mention that as far as like your ledge trapping, like you went for like a few up smashes or F smashes at ledge, and I was like, you know what, like that's not even a bad call out. Like if you want to go for a hard read, go for it, you know what I mean? But it's like you really only want to do those hard reads when it's like a good risk reward. So like, what's a good risk reward? Well, for an F smash or an up smash, like it's so laggy, it's so committal that really you kind of only want to go for it when it's gonna kill or set up into a kill, right? And you were going for them even at like when I was at like mid percents, where I was like, there's no way this is gonna kill me even if it hits, you know? So I think it's a similar thing with like neutral. So a lot of times you're in these scrappy situations, and it's like, sure, I mean, you could be trying to like read my roll or something, but like unless you're super confident of like you know what my habits are, and you know like oh yeah, like my opponent's definitely gonna roll here, or I can definitely bait them into doing this, and I can get a really big punish off of it. Unless it's like you're super confident, you can get a really big reward off of it. It's just not worth it, sort of, to go for those options, right? Like, it's better to just kind of scrap and get percent here and there, and kind of just like see if, because again, like what's the risk, right? If you don't get that read, well, you get hit, and like that's really bad on Mewtwo, right? Because you're kind of a glass cannon. You can't really be affording to like go for those reads and not hitting them, right?
Yeah.
So I think something you can think about for those scrapping situations is just like maybe have like an action plan of like, okay, when I get in close, what are my quick options that I'm gonna do to like get my opponent off of me, right? F tilt, down tilt, you know, fair, neutral air, right? Just kind of, even sometimes, kind of honestly, sometimes this game is so twitchy. Just throw something out. I mean, you know, like don't mash, right? But like, just throw something out and just kind of be like, hey, you know, like I'm just trying to trade. Like I'm not necessarily looking to get, like, you don't have to like be thinking like 3 steps ahead, right? Just throw something out and like just hope that like, hey, like it gets them off of you. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to set up into anything. It doesn't have to be part of like a bigger plan, right? It just has to be twitchy, like, okay, I need to get out of this situation, sort of deal. So that's the biggest thing I noticed, because again, like there were so many times you were right next to me, and you actually would have, like, if you had thrown out a move, you actually would have hit me for free. Like I didn't have the frame data to like do anything. But instead you got hit because you kind of just didn't press a button. So I think those are the 2 big things that I noticed that game.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Cool.
Ready?
That was the situation right there that I think where it just happened. Like you were right there, and then you right there, right here, where I side beat you. It was like you had the frames to like do something, and instead you got side beat. Yeah, I mean, landing on Bowser is pretty tricky, just because up smash is invincible, and it's huge. So, you know, I mean, that wouldn't be that bad of an option against a lot of other characters. It's just kind of Bowser, though. What else did I notice? Okay, I feel like you actually, your disadvantage was actually worse this game than last game. And so I can talk about kind of, maybe why you're having a little bit of trouble in disadvantage, at least this past game. So, again, I understand Wi-Fi, right? But what you were kind of doing this game is you were... Okay, let me throw this idea out there. Disadvantage, essentially, is the state in which the options that you have against your opponent are unfavorable. And like that's a way to think about disadvantage, right? So it means that like your opponent has a lot more options that say like will beat yours than any options that you have that will beat theirs. So obviously like landing is a fairly obvious one, right? Because if you're landing, like usually being on top of your opponent in Ultimate, usually, for most characters, is a bad thing. Because, it's a lot easier to do, say, like, for you to get hit by an up air than it is for you to, like, say, hit your opponent with like a down air, as an example, right? For most characters. So in that way, like, that makes sense. But disadvantage isn't just landing, right? Disadvantage is really any angle in which, you know, you're sort of like, you know, not in a good position, if you want to think of it that way. So like there were a couple times you were coming back onto stage with your back turned to me, and you were doing these very high jumps, like you were doing them from ledge. And they're not, again, it's not even that bad of a situation, except you kind of floated above me, and then you didn't, at that point, then you didn't have anything you could do. You kind of were in this like slightly diagonal like, you know, up and like left from me, let's say, angle. And once you don't threaten, say, the back air at that point, right, then there's literally nothing you can do, at least not like offensively, right? I mean, it's like at that point you're forced to do a defensive option, but like even your defensive options at that point aren't super good, right? Because at that point, with you no longer have the back air angle or timing, whereas your opponent has a ton of options that they can hit you with, right? And it's like, how are you gonna get back onto the ground? Like, you don't have a double jump, so you lost that as a mix-up. And again, you don't have any offensive options, so it's like you have to go for like air dodge or like up B, or maybe like an aggressive side B, like reverse side B, something like that. But like again, that's like super committal, right? So really, you want to be thinking about those angles. And now obviously, like, okay, this is all well and good in theory, but like, how do we actually fix it, right? Well, the way we fix it is basically by trying to be aware of those angles. Like, identify those angles, be aware of those angles, and avoid those angles. Like, don't willingly put yourself in that situation. So now how do we do that? So basically, you need to be aware of your opponent's, what I like to call threat range, right? Or their burst range. That is the range at which your opponent can hit you and it's unreactable, right? So again, in this instance where you, like, say, double jump floated back onto stage with your back turned, and you're not threatening the back air, but you got close enough that you're now in my burst range. So that's really bad, right? Because again, like, now you put yourself in a position where I can hit you and you can't really hit me. Or also there was one time where you died. You were falling and then you tried to side B stall above me, and which again, side B stalling isn't bad, but you side B stalled above me, but you were in my burst range, you were in my threat range, and then I back aired you for it because you didn't hit me with your side B. You just stalled yourself, you put yourself in end lag, and then I back aired you. So like, you know, what could you have done differently in those scenarios? Well, on the side B stalling one, like, it's just a recognition of, okay, side B stalling there is not the place or the time to do it. Again, side B stalling is fine, but if you're gonna side B stall, either you need to be very, like, a lot more far away from me so that you're not in my threat range, or you need to do it at a position where, like, it'll actually hit me, right? Because then it's like an offensive mix-up, right? So you could have drifted away. Like, actually, you very much, like, you kind of just drifted down, and when you did this, the side B to stall, and that was very easy. That was very linear and easy, and just like right there for me to, like, back air you. Whereas, like, if you had drifted away and then side B stalled, then that would have made my angle to hit you a lot harder, right? So it's thinking about those threat ranges and that drift. So same thing really with the other one where you're like, you double jump drifted back towards me with your back facing me. So in that instance, you know, again, I'm saying if you're gonna do that double jump, you probably want to time the apex of your jump so that you don't drift that high in the first place. So I think basically you jumped too high in the first place, which gave you a worse angle. Obviously, though, there's counterplay to everything, and there's, you know, what you keep in mind is obviously, okay, yeah, if you double jump later, yes, that makes it more reactable for your opponent, but you could get a better angle. So that that high double jump wouldn't be bad, assuming that I'm closer to you, right? Or that you're gonna, again, like, very preemptively throw out a back air to get me, like, out of that zone. But because I was staying back and letting you double jump, then that became a much riskier double jump. And again, you sort of just like full drifted into me, even though you sort of should have like identified, hey, this is becoming a bad angle for me, right? You started to drift away at the very end, but it was kind of like too little too late, right? So really you need to be anticipating like, ooh, okay, maybe this isn't a good angle for me. Maybe I need to like go like plank, like re-grab ledge, or maybe I need to like you know, just like start drifting away and then find some other mix-up, right?
Yeah. So like, just so you know, so my thought process when I did that was I wanted to just kind of like bait you to like, yeah, like I'm free, but I was gonna like be reverse hit you with like I think it was like a medium charging shadow ball. I don't know, I forgot.
Yeah.
Trying to do, but it was just a bad angle. It was just
Yeah, exactly, because you were too high up. So like, because the that was a good mix-up. But yeah, because you were so high up, it made the angle bad. Like even if you were gonna shadow ball, because yeah, it's like it would be kind of like a very high one, and I could like low profile it. So yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I think it, you know, maybe that was just an execution error. Like maybe you were trying to double jump like lower than you did. But yeah, I think those are things to watch out for, because I think that's what I noticed in terms of your disadvantage. You're just kind of drifting too close and like not respecting the threat range, really. Same thing even with like the last up smash, right? You did an aggressive recovery with like trying to get back to the ground with Nair, which again is good, right? But also like I was literally right there, right? I was right there. So that's very easy for me to cover with an up smash. Like if I had to like run and then up smash, well, that's different, right? Than if I just have to stand in place and up smash. So I think it's about thinking about the threat ranges. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna go to Esports Cave tomorrow, because I'm going to Heartbeat on Friday. Or not, sorry, on Friday. On Saturday, I'm going to Heartbeat, which is really big. I don't know if you've heard about it. Yeah, it's in Waco. It's super stacked. There's like 170 people signed up. Okay, also, that's right. That's another thing I wanted to tell you. I think you're DIing Bowser's side B incorrectly. The way that you DI Bowser's side B, or the way that you should DI Bowser's side B, is down and away from the direction that Bowser is facing. I think a lot of these you're DIing them in, so you're dying earlier than you should. Down and right. Are you not meaning to? Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, actually. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so if you see someone using a charged move at ledge, like Bowser Breath, that's just a free get-up attack, because you get iframes on your get-up attack. Nice. You caught me dying bad. Oh no! Okay, that happened. Okay. Yeah, so let me see some other things I thought about. You gotta hit a lot because you're dropping shield to multi-hits. So obviously, you know, multi-hit like Bowser up B, just or neutral air, just full shield it. They usually tend to have so much unlag that you can still like punish them pretty free after. So just try to shield it. Don't worry though. I mean, it happens to everyone.
Yeah, because I mean, I wasn't too sure. Like, maybe I can jump out of it. Like, I don't know. I wasn't sure I could jump out of it.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think multi hits usually just like again, most of them, not all of them, but usually you can just shield them. What else? Okay, another thing I noticed when you're in these like close quarter boxing situations is a lot of times you'll like, I don't know, you'll kind of be in shield and you'll jump, which is fine, like that's fine, but the issue is like let's say we're like right next to each other. Let's say we're like both shielding or something, or you're shielding and I'm not, right? It's very common for you to shield or to jump in those situations, but the way that you're jumping, I think could use a little work. So basically, when you jump in those situations, I keep like up tilting you for it. And the reason why is because you are almost always doing these like full hop jumps towards me. Maybe that's just a coincidence. Like maybe you're just trying to go to center stage, but you are like going either in place or towards me. And so that makes it very easy for me to like swat at. And also, you're like never threatening a hitbox in those situations. So again, it makes it very like free, like no risk for me to like swat at you when you do that. So how do you? So again, like what are your options instead of doing that every time? Well, you can jump away, so that again, trying to get away from my threat range, right? You can also do short hop, and again, aggressive mix up. You can either do like a landing aerial, like either, you know, something spaced or an air, or you can even go for a tomahawk grab, right? So like just short hop in place, like turn around or don't turn around depending on what's needed, and then just tomahawk grab, right? So yeah, I think you need more mix-ups, because again, like that seems to be a situation where I've noticed it pretty much every game, that's kind of one of your default options in those grabbing situations, and it tends to get you punished. Yeah, and again, it's like the issue is obviously jumping from shield is like, you know, the fastest option everyone has, and it's a good option, but you know, again, being above someone tends to be like not good, right? So being directly above someone and being like in swap, you know, in range to get swatted at is like not great. So that's why, you know, you need those mix-ups to like, you know, discourage your opponent from just being able to swat at you for free. Good roll. Nice. No, you cannot. Oh, nice. There you go.
Oh my god.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was a situation where, again, you had less iframes because of your percent. So that's what made it better for me. Nice forward air. Very nice. You got it. Nice job, dude. That was really good. Let me see.
Just kind of like just throwing more nairs and just more moves.
Yeah, no, I think you definitely did better with that. You also started doing way better with your ledge trapping. You started mixing up more your ledge trapping. You weren't just going for these like really strong options. You were kind of using movement and using shadow balls and using grabs. So that was really good. Oh, that's right. I had one tip for you that game. My one tip is when you get hit on shield, like when I hit you on your shield, a lot of times you are not punishing me, even though you have the frame data to punish. And so I don't know if that's maybe you just not being aware of the frame data, or if it's you not knowing which option select to go for. So if it's if it's the latter, again, your fastest out of shield options are gonna be, you know, forward air, nair, and grab. So so basically, if I land in front of you, right, you can go for a shield grab. What's your shield grab? It's probably like frame 7 or something. I think it's probably like, I can look it up. Give me 1 second. So, Mewtwo.
That's just I think the reason why that like specific habit of me like not punishing while getting on shield is because my friend that I usually play with, this character that.
Yeah, it's frame 7.
Like just kind of like kind of like spams on your shield. Like I don't
Gotcha.
know. Like,
Yeah.
Just like get out of there.
No, I get it, but yeah, I mean, when you have a free punish, it's a free punish. You know what I mean? So, okay, so it is frame 7. Now, something to know in this game is if you get hit on your shield, obviously there's shield stun frames, and other than shield stun frames, you also, like, whenever you're in shield stun, like, obviously it makes it, like let's say a move is, like, -10 on shield, right? So that means you have 10 frames to punish it. So you would think that would mean that your shield grab can punish it, but that's actually not the case, because whenever you're in shield stun, it actually reduces the or it actually lengthens the frame of your grab by, I believe, 4 frames. So like your shield grab would actually be 11 frames if you got hit by something, but you do still have 10 frames to punish with something else. So like an aerial out of shield. So you could still do a forward air out of shield or a neutral air out of shield. and you would still be able to punish. Because let me check the frame data on your Nair. Your Nair is frame 7. So frame 7 plus 3 frames of jump squat, that's frame 10. So like you would still have enough frames to punish minus 10 on your shield with a Nair. Nair is very easy. You do short hop Nair, just like in place, like on top of your opponent. Obviously, if your opponent's like big enough, or you have the spacing, then forward air can sometimes be even better. So yeah, so just look out for that, because there's definitely a ton of times I'm doing like moves that are like minus 20 on your shield, and you're just letting me get away with it, like a lot. Other than that, though, again, I think you did way better. You did better in disadvantage. You did better at ledge trapping. You did better in those scrapping situations. Yeah, nice adjustments. I think we have time for about 1 or 2 more games. Yep, sounds good. Nice. It worked out. Whoops! I think I accidentally held down. That was very scary. Oh, you got it. Nice job, nice job. Ooh. Yeah, you almost had it. I was like, yo, he's getting the DI. That's good. Yeah, it has a landing hitbox. See that? I don't mind that side B. That was a good side B. Yeah, also don't mind that one. Yep. Yeah, I knew your iframes were ending there, so you had to pick an option. Alright. Let's see. We have time for probably one more. Yeah, so let me think what else. There were a couple things I wanted to point out that game. Shoot. My mind went blank. Oh, yes. This is just something for you to keep in mind in the back of your head as an option select that I haven't seen you go for, but is good on Mewtwo. If someone is on platform and they're shielding, you almost always pressure them with, say, like an aerial, like let's say like an up air or something, which is fine. But honestly, there are better pressure tools that you could be going for. And I want to mention that specifically and again, they're mix-ups, right? I'm not saying do it every time. I'm saying, incorporate them into your gameplay. One is you can side B. You can side B people if they're shielding on platform. It's a command grab, right? So it's very common for people to like hold shield on platform because it's the safest option, but obviously it loses to side B, right? So incorporate that. That might be something good. The other thing too is you can use up tilts on the ground, like from below platform. If someone's shielding on a platform, you can just like up tilt them once or twice from below, and then like that forces them into an option because they can't threaten you from above. Like if you up tilt their shield, like you're safe. They have to commit to an option, and that's doing free shield damage to them. And then like because they're taking shield damage, that's forcing them into an option because then like they're in shield break or shield poke situation, right? Where like you could shield poke them with like Nair, or you could like shield poke them with like up smash, right? So and again, so if it forces an option, it forces them to either like roll or jump, and then that's a good situation for you still, right? Because you're still on the ground and like you still have all the stage control.
Ready? Well, actually, a lot of the times, double jumping a lot, man, like you're kind of too high up for me to like contest anything up there. So like I can get up there with double. Go! I feel like that's kind of like
Yeah, it's. Yeah, no, I would say usually your best option is to not go up there. Again, it's going to be a risk reward thing. Usually if your opponent's above you, like really high up, usually it's best for you to just shark their landing. That is something that I wanted to touch on at some point too, but I feel like it's again, it's also harder on Wi-Fi, and it's a bit of a more complex item. But a lot of times you were kind of letting me land for free. But what I mean by that is actually a lot of times you're positioning well to like say give me space to like say do my down air so like I don't hit you, but then like you don't punish it, right? And again, I understand like maybe Wi-Fi, right? But like a lot of times like you could just hang out under platform, and then if I like down air, it's like, well, that's a free like up tilt punish for you, right?
Have you punishing the down air like above?
Yeah, no, you don't want to contest. You don't want to contest the down air. Like you can contest it from the side, like you got a really good forward air on me once, but you don't want to contest it from below in the air. So like you either want to let me land and then punish the end lag. Obviously it does have like a landing hitbox, right? But then when I say landing hitbox, I mean like you see the little like explosion that it does on the sides. So the ways you can punish it, you can actually shield it. It doesn't do very much shield damage. So you can shield it, and then you can again like either like neutral air or like grab it, like shield grab it or whatever. Or if you are not close enough to shield it, then you can just space outside of it and then punish it with like say an approaching like falling Nair, something like this, right? You can do that. Or you can punish it with a shadow ball from like a distance. You'd have to time it though, because you don't want the shadow ball to like clank with the down air hitbox. But yeah, you can punish it with that. Or again, like if I do down air onto a platform, you can just like up smash it from below the platform. So yeah. No, it won't. Oh, what? Oh, you're so tall! I guess you can crouch. That is so crazy. Yeah, I guess you just crouch. It doesn't, bro, it like doesn't hit like 90% of characters. I was like, there's no way. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, you can just crouch it, or you can even shield it, honestly. Because like, you can up smash out a shield. So, yeah. Yeah, so you can either shield it or you can just crouch it, honestly. So, cool. That was good. That was really good recovery. Might have been, yeah. It was right at that percent. A lot of times I'm double jumping to try to hit you high, but it's also like the risk reward's pretty good for me because again, like you're so floaty, usually you're gonna have a harder time like landing, and you know, Bowser just gets so much reward off of like you in one hit. And because you're like floaty, it also makes like it can make your landing more ambiguous than like characters that have like really bad aerial drift. Like Bowser has really bad aerial drift, so it's very easy to like chark his landing as opposed to like having to hit him in the air, especially because he has like both his down air and like his down B like stall him, and they're just like super meaty hitboxes. So I do think like, you know, like the question you were asking earlier of like, do I go up there and swat them? It's really matchup dependent and character dependent. You know, like obviously if you get a really good risk reward off of the hit, like if you kill them or something, right? If they're like a kill percent and your up air kills them, well obviously it's worth it, right? But it also it depends on like how easy it is for like for you to catch their like landing again, right? So like Bowser's landing is usually pretty easy to catch, whereas like Mewtwo's landing is a little bit harder to catch, but it's also easier to swat him out of the air because you don't have things like my down air, right? Like you can't contest. So it's matchup dependent. Nice. Yep, good recovery. Yep, good. No, I mean those are good. Those are good. Like you're outside my threat range. So. And like the stalls are good because they force me to like, because like I'm consuming resources, and by resources I mean like jump, so it forces me to reset, and that forces me to like no longer be able to threaten you, so it's good. Nice. Oh no! You're good, you're good. You're dead. Yeah, so you should have, after you hit that up smash, there was no need for you to shield on platform really, because there was nothing I could threaten you with, so you could have like up tilted me after. There's some characters that might be able to threaten you after you up smash on a platform, like if you hit their shield, but not Bowser. Alright, well good games again, really honestly, really good adjustments from you over the course of the session, so really love to see that. Good session. You have anything before we end?
So these notes and stuff like are good, but like I'm obviously like ignoring and stuff, but like kind of you have to like just like continue like getting better, like it's the only way, like just gotta go to like tournaments, like just.
Yeah, so the way that I get better, this is just my process that I followed in any game that I've gotten good at. You know, I've been professional in a few. Honestly, it's practice as much as you can, think about the game as much as you can, look up resources about the game as much as you can, like, you know, say, look at Wadi's guides or whoever's, right? And try to think about it critically. Like, always be thinking about, like, why does something work? Why does something not work? What are your mistakes? Like, when are you winning situations? When are you losing situations? And think about why. Just because you win or lose a situation doesn't mean you made like a quote unquote like right or wrong decision, right? So it's not always about the results. It's about the theory, right? So, I think evolving, understanding is different between players, and understanding evolves over time. But I think the more that you think about the game, the more you practice the game, and the more you can just like look at what works for top players and what works for you. I think that's usually like that's what helps me, right? I mean, that's how I got good at the game. So I essentially do this VOD review for myself. I mean, that's how I get good at the game. I literally review my own VODs. And
Like, I've never reviewed VODs, like, I'm excited.
yeah. So that's something I've been doing for myself. Like whenever I win a game or I lose a game, I go back and I try to see, okay, what did I do well? What did I do wrong? Like if it's, if I think it's an important game. Obviously I used to do that a lot more. I do that a bit less now because I kind of understand it more so intuitively. Like I don't have to do VOD review all the time, but I've done a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's my advice. Well, awesome, sir. Appreciate you. Yep. All right, I'm gonna end the stream.